Hey there, guys. Welcome back to a brand new. Let me change this real quick. Let me change that bottom part here. Yeah. Okay. Now that's better. All right. Welcome back to the Zeke Said So show. This is the brand new addition to the Zeke Said So show. Um, and Yeah, it's been a while. It's been probably far too long since I've done a podcast or two. But Yeah, just life got busy and life got crazy and lots has happened. Um, but I'm here now. And you know what? I'm here to do the one thing that I've always loved doing, which is talking about movies. Um, Movies are my passion, and I love talking about movies. And we'll talk more about what I've been up to, where I've been. We'll talk more about that later on in the show. But want to kind of talk a lot about some stuff that's happened. Um, uh, you know, there's been a lot that's happened, including DC canceling a movie. You have some very interesting stuff involving this Avatar: The Last Airbender film that got leaked on the internet. The current state of film and cinema. How big will Doomsday be? And we're going to talk about my most anticipated films of the summer. But let's go ahead and talk about some movies here. Let's start with this DC thing, because man, this DC thing it's crazy. It's crazy, guys. It is absolute insanity. Um, but uh, we do have a story involving James Gunn's DCU and a particular project that has been um, a particular project that has been shelved. And here we go. We got this from Screen Rant over here. Uh, James Gunn confirms the long theorized fate of the DCU's R-rated team-up movie 3 years later. As soon as I can get these ads out of the way, there we go. Okay. Uh, 3 years after being announced, James Gunn has confirmed the fate of an R-rated DCU team-up movie. In 2023, Gunn announced the slate for the first chapter of the DCU, known as Gods and Monsters. This included Superman, Creature Commando Season 1, and Peacemaker Season 2, all of which have since been released, and other projects announced then, like Supergirl, are coming soon. However, the slate also featured several movies and shows that seemingly had little progress in the last 3 years, leading to speculation that some have been scrapped. One of these is the Authority movie, which Gunn confirmed on Threads is no longer moving forward. The co CEO of DC clarifies that despite online fan theories, there were never any plans for him to direct or write the film. He also explains that the decision to not continue on the project was due to issues with the script, the movie struggling to fit within the larger DCU, and some practical concerns, but acknowledges that it could eventually be revived. This is what Gunn had to say. Gunn said, just a normal slip of the tongue. I would never have had the time to do this. And although I know this is a popular theory online, I never had an intention of writing or directing The Authority. The script wasn't quite there, but more importantly, it didn't work in terms of the larger DCU, both in terms of story and practical concerns. Maybe someday, but not soon. The Authority are a team of anti-heroes from DC Comics whose members include Jenny Sparks, the engineer, Midnighter, the Doctor, Swift, Jack Hawksmoor, and Apollo. The engineer was played by Maria Gabriela de Farrer in the DCU Superman, where the character works with Lex Luthor. This seemed to be setting up the Authority film, but That is no longer the case. Okay, so The Authority, it's no longer happening. Um, it's no longer happening. According to James Gunn, that is over. Um, so what do I think of this? Well, I'll say this, that it makes sense. We had heard basically nothing about it since they had made that announcement 3 years ago at DC. I almost want to call it Comic Con or DC fandom, but no, it was just a video that they dropped on a random Monday morning. They dropped this video announcing all these movies and TV shows, and only when you really think about it, only four of those projects are now coming. We've had Creature Commando season one, we've had Superman. Peacemaker season two was not announced in that original lineup, but it that came. You have Lanterns, which is coming in August, and then Supergirl, which is coming in June. But all these other projects, like Clayface, wasn't originally announced as part of the lineup. That was basically kind of just dropped out of nowhere. And Gunn even said that Clayface was not originally part of the plan, and then they got the script for it and just loved it so much that they greenlit it. So, look, I think this goes to why I really like how James Gunn is um what I love about James Gunn being the head of DC, because it just is, it's amazing that we have a studio head who actually thinks like how a studio head should think, in terms of, you know what, is the script good? Is the script good? And if it's not good, then we're not going to make it. You know, that is something all studio heads should be concerned with. It should never just be about, well, we like having this character, but let's like what Marvel's doing with Blade. We really like Blade, so let's announce a Blade movie, and we still haven't gotten a Blade movie. I still doubt that movie's even going to happen at this point. Like, I'll believe the Blade has become what the Flash was for DC for so many years. Remember when the Flash was announced back in like 2014, and we were like, "Oh my gosh, this Flash movie's coming out," and then it just kept getting stalled to the point where we were all just like, "You know what? I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it." And then it finally did come out, and I like the movie, but everyone out there has been telling me I'm wrong for the past 3 years. But that being said, I like the fact that James Gunn's like, no, we're not going to do that. If a script is great, we're going to greenlight it, and if we can make this work, then we're going to do it. It's not oh, well, people really want to see Batman, so let's just rush a Batman movie out. No, like people were bitching and complaining about how, oh my gosh, how it's Matt Reeves is taking forever to make the Batman Part 2. How many years is it going to take for Matt Reeves to make the Batman Part 2? They were complaining about it, and it's like, guys, do you want a great movie, or do you want something that's rushed and forced? It's like I can't stand the mentality that some of these people have, like, oh my gosh, why can't we need it now? It's like, and I like how James Gunn's mentality is just, no, sit down, shut your mouth. We don't have a Batman movie ready. The DCU's Batman movie we're still working on it. Okay, we're still trying to get the script right, But you know what? We have Supergirl coming out. I don't want Supergirl. I want to see the Batman introduced to the DCU. It's like, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. And that's the thing. It's like, James Gunn as the head of DC, he does everything that I would do if I was the creative head of DC. It's just like I think it's brilliant to say, okay, we are not going to make this movie if the script isn't good. If the script is still bad and needs work, then we're not going to release it. And personally, for me, I like the way that's handled. I do. Sue me. I like the way it's handled. So while yes, I am bummed out that we're not going to see the Authority anytime soon. If you couldn't get the script right, then you just couldn't get the script right. I would rather have a movie get canceled rather than just force something out that's just going to be mediocre. I would rather have a movie get canceled in that case. So that's just my thoughts. What do you guys think about that? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. All right, let's talk about this next topic here. And this next topic is that there's a little movie called The Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender. And it was leaked on the internet. I don't know if you guys heard about that, but it was leaked on the internet. And now the man responsible for leaking it could possibly face 7 years in prison. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety who say the following. A 26-year-old suspect has been arrested for leaking Paramount Plus's The Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender. The confirmation comes from sources after Singapore's Straight Time reported on the news. Paramount Plus had been investigating the online leak of its upcoming film, and sources familiar with the situation said the leak had not come from within the studio. Local police in Singapore put out a statement saying that it seized electronic devices which included a digital copy of the unreleased film. According to the report, the man had gained unauthorized remote access to a media server from which he was able to download the film before distributing it online. Unauthorized access to computer material carries a maximum of 7 years jail time and or potential fine up to $50,000 according to local laws. Yeah. Okay, so yeah. We so let's talk about this Avatar leak, okay? Let's talk about the movie that's been leaked online, okay? Yes, I have seen clips of the movie out there. Have I seen the movie in its entirety? What I will say is that here's what I'll say. I have seen, I don't want to phrase this. The short answer is yes, but I personally am not going to review the movie. Why? Because I am on the side of the artist who worked on it, and in my support to the artist, I am not going to review a movie that was leaked online. Instead, I am going to do my due diligence and wait until the movie is officially released by the studio, and I'm going to um how do I want to say it? I am going to wait until the movie is released by the studio before I even talk about it. Before I talk about the movie and before I talk about anything about it. Before I say a single thing about it, I am going to just push pause and say I am not reviewing the movie. I will not give my thoughts on the movie publicly until the movie has been officially released. Because, and this kind of goes into my thoughts on the leak, I hate the fact that it's been leaked online. And I saw all the clips online. I've seen all the clips that have leaked. I've seen all the stuff about it. I had heard that the script also got leaked online. Um, I have heard all of this stuff. And I think it is horrible to think that somebody was so incompetent to say, you know what, I'm just going to steal this movie from the studio. Who knows why the guy did it? Who knows why they did? I mean, I don't know if this article says if there was a motive behind the leaking of it. Um, but um, but it is unfortunate that there are so many people who worked hard on this movie, and this guy who gained access to a media server, downloaded the film, and distributed it online is only going to get a 7-year sentence in jail and a fine up to $50,000. That is like ludicrous to me because Paramount spent probably $80 million to make this movie. And the guy is only going to have to pay $50,000 for illegally downloading it and putting it up on the internet. I think it's unfortunate that artists are being treated with that level of I think it's complete disrespect. I completely believe that it is nothing but um I think it's a complete lack of concern or a complete lack of respect to even remotely try to justify it. You know, to justify that decision. Um Now, having said that, um I I will say this. I do think part of the reason why this movie got leaked was because I feel like a lot of people the movie already gained so much word of mouth and so much attention when Paramount made the decision um to take it off of Paramount Plus and move it directly to streaming. They already really messed that up when they did that. And for me, I think it's interesting when we look at it is because like the artist must have already felt extremely discouraged when the movie got pulled from theatrical and got put on streaming. I mean, even the director came out and said this in a Instagram post. She said, "We screened the final film for the crew and celebrated the end of a 4-year journey. Now it waits in limbo until its release in October. The recent decision to move us from theatrical to streaming might give the impression that the quality was wasn't sufficient, but that couldn't be farther from the truth. This movie deserves to be seen on the big screen. Can't wait for you all to see it." So they were already pretty discouraged. And then for somebody to get on, and then even an animator who, when the movie was leaked, said this: "We worked on the Aang movie for years with the expectation that we'd get to celebrate all of our hard work in theaters. Just to see people unceremoniously leak the film and pass our shots around Twitter like candy." That has to be very discouraging. First off, your movie gets pulled from theaters. Your movie gets pulled from theaters, and then your movie gets leaked online for people to share the clips on Instagram and for people to be able to watch it whenever they feel like it. It's unfortunate. And it's really sucks. I spoke to somebody who I met years ago at a film festival, and I kept in contact with this person because this person has worked in film and television and has experienced piracy of his projects. And I remember when we were talking about this particular thing that happened, he was like, "Yeah, no, when your projects get pirated like that and people just steal your movie and share it for the whole world to see, that breaks your heart as an artist. Because this thing that you poured all your heart, soul, money into, it's now there for everyone to see, and it was stolen, right, it was ripped right out of your hands, and that is unfortunate to see. It makes me sad as an art, and honestly, part of the reason why I am choosing to stay silent on my thoughts, opinions, whatever on this movie is because I feel awful for these people. I feel awful for the people who worked on the movie, that this whole situation has just been nothing but garbage. It has been nothing but garbage for them. And it's just unfortunate. It's just unfortunate. So I would say this to be. I know there are some people. There are actually a lot of my audience. A lot of my audience sent me DMs talking about the movie. So I know a lot of people have already seen this movie. I would encourage, even if you have seen the um even if you have seen the movie already, wherever you watched it, whatever however you watched it, please consider. I know it sucks that it's not going to be in theaters. But if you want to see more projects from Avatar Studios and from the people who work on Avatar The Last Airbender, if you want to see more projects from them, please support it whenever it is officially released. And in whatever capacity it's officially released in. If it drops on Paramount Plus, watch it on Paramount Plus. If Paramount decides to backtrack and say, we're going to put this in theaters, go support it when it's in a movie theater. I doubt they'll backtrack because they've seemed pretty firm that it's going to go straight to streaming. But just support the film. Support the film. And that's all we can really do at this point. Because unfortunately, a lot of these people lost their support when this idiot decided to illegally put the movie online for everyone to see. It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. But all right, let's move on from that topic, and let's talk about this. Let's talk about the current state of film and cinema. Oh, film and cinema. This art form that I love so much. I want to kind of talk about a few things. There's a few things that have been on my mind over the past like month or so. And it's just that what are the movies being made today, and also just where I believe the industry is heading in. And honestly, I think a lot of what's been happening with film, with the film industry, is that it has very much been at there's a lot going against it. You know, movie theater attendance is lower than it has ever been before. You have things like AI being uh you have things like AI which are uh being fought by actors and writers and people who work on film, saying that it's bad for the industry. You have Marvel, which has shut down its entire visual development team, laid off hundreds and hundreds of people. They're actually, a lot of the major studios have been having layoffs just left and right. And it's just it's a sad thing to see. It's a sad thing to see from this industry that I have such fondness for and that I have loved since I was a little kid. You know, I've talked about how I fell in love with film, but I've never really talked about it. But like, film has always been a part of my life for so long. I mean, even like from the age I was like 5 when I would be watching, just sitting in front of the TV watching movies. I was always glued to the TV watching cartoons and watching, you know, animated films, but also animated shows, like all the shows on Nickelodeon and Disney Channel, but also, you know, like you have your Christian based content, because I grew up in a religious household, a very Christian based content like Veggie Tales, which also were very kind of impactful for my love for storytelling. I think with my whole perspective on this whole thing is that, like, I feel like movies a lot of movies that are being made today have just gotten more and more generic with their storytelling formulas and all that kind of stuff. And specifically with like the way specifically like big budget studio films have gotten more and more generic. Um but also even like the like uh other mid-budget level studios, like for example, Blumhouse horror films have gotten just significantly more and more disposable. every year that they've put a new film out, they've had some hits like I thought Megan 2.0 was fun. Um I really enjoyed that movie, and I thought there were other um movies they've put out that were pretty decent, but again, it's just like you also have movies like Five Nights at Freddy's 2, which I don't even know what that movie was. I still to this day can't even remotely begin to tell you how generic I thought that film was. And somehow we as audience members are just supposed to be okay with that. Or even here's another example. Um Musical biopics. I mean, look how they follow the same formula every single time. And with a movie like Michael, which just came out, for that movie to be basically a movie where it's just focused on the music, but not focused on the man behind the music, is again very disappointing. It just and for some reason we're just supposed to be okay with that. And I think it's a shame because can you imagine if The Godfather came out and in today's movie age, that movie would be so disposable now and it would just be generic and we would just be like, okay, yeah, Godfather, it's eh. But meanwhile, all these other people who don't go see movies, who don't really care about the art form, just like, oh my god, the Godfather is amazing, you know. But no, it's like back then when the Godfather came out, and when the original Star Wars came out, and when films pre, I would say pre 2020, I would say pre 2020, maybe it was before that, maybe like 2017, pre 2017, pre 2018, people actually legitimately cared about the movies they were making. They actually took time and put love and care. And not to say we don't get movies like that now. I just talked about how James Gunn is doing something really great with DC by not going into production on movies that don't have scripts that he thinks are bad. I think that's a smart move. Or like, A24 allowing filmmakers to make the movies they want to make really bizarre movies that nobody else is making. Like ev- everything everywhere all at once is not a movie that a studio like Universal would take a chance on. A movie like everywhere all at once could only be made by a studio like A24. Or when you have Robert Eggers who's coming out and making these bizarre movies that only certain people are probably going to find any enjoyment out of, like you like it- I remember going to see Nosferatu and I walked out loving it, and then I would hear all these people saying they didn't understand it, how it was just boring, it wasn't scary, and I'm just like, but then these are the same people who are going to see Michael and saying that they cried, they got emotional during Michael, and I'm like, well, what aspect of that was emotional? What aspect of Michael was truly emotional? I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. I had fun with Michael. I had fun, like bobbing my head to Thriller and Beat It. Like I'm not gonna lie. At the spoiler alert for Michael, but in the third act, he sings the song "Bad." I wouldn't be lying if I was sitting there going, "Cause I'm bad, I'm bad, I'm really bad." I wouldn't. I'm not gonna lie to you and say that I did that, but at the same time, I walked out of that movie going, yeah, but I needed something more. There needed to be more to it. Like I'll give you a perfect example of a movie that it may not be the greatest movie of all time. And honestly, if you were to I will give you the perfect example of a movie that I think gives you everything that you would want in a movie. It's fun, it's entertaining, it's got fun, lovable characters that you can attach yourselves to. And at the end of the day, it satisfies your experience as a moviegoer. The Mummy. Now, is The Mummy the greatest movie of all time? No. Is it on the list of, is it up there with like the original Godfather or Citizen Kane? No. 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 But as if I was going to the movies today, I would want to go in there and watch a movie like The Mummy because not only is it fun and entertaining, but it feels like you're getting more out of it as a moviegoer. It feels like you would walk out of that movie, walk out of the auditorium and just go, you know what? I feel like I got a lot. I feel satisfied as a moviegoer. I feel like my hard-earned money was well spent because I got a satisfying movie going experience out of it. And I feel like too many movies are focused on either really flashy spectacle or really beautiful looking camera shots. And I don't feel like they're focused enough on what's the story, who are the characters, can we make the characters likable, and I feel like too many movies nowadays just don't really do that now, and I would hope that that changes as A24 continues to let filmmakers tell the movies they want to make. Like I still like, or like hopefully filmmakers like Lord and Miller will come out and prove that you don't need to just make it about big flashy spectacle. Like Project Hail Mary is my favorite movie of this year. I am not against big budget flashy spectacle movies. I'm not at all. I love the big spectacle stuff. I love me some Marvel movies. I love me some DC movies, Star Wars movies. I'm still gonna go see The Mandalorian and Grogu, even though I think it's just an extension of a TV show, but I'm still gonna go see it because I love me some Star Wars movies. I'm still gonna go see Spider-Man Brand New Day because I love me some Spider-Man. But I also love movies. I love this art form. I love the art form of storytelling. And movies just need to focus back up and give me good stories. That's why I can't wait for films like Dune Part 3 or The Odyssey or even these smaller movies that are coming out. Um, you know, I'm just I'm like I'm drawing a blank on some of them because I don't have a whole freaking laundry list of material that's right in front of me, but I'm excited for a lot that's coming because I think there are some filmmakers that still do care about that type of experience, that still care about delivering something that is worthy of going out and spending money. Like part of the reason why movie theater attendance is so low is because we're not is because number one, it's very expensive to go to the movies, but also number two is just the movies are just not as good as they used to be. It's that old adage. They don't make them like they used to. So, all right, let's move on here. Um, let's talk about this. Where have I been? What's been happening? What's gone? What's been why have I not made why have I not done a new episode of the podcast? Why have I not done a new video? I've done some new videos in the past 3 months since I haven't done a podcast in 3 months, but I've done some videos. I've put up some stuff, some content on my YouTube channel, but definitely not enough that I probably should have. Um, I have a out of the theater reaction for Michael that's on my YouTube channel. You guys can go and check that out. A out of the theater reaction for Project Hail Mary. In fact, and honestly, I've been doing a lot of reviews on my Instagram too, and on my Letterboxd. So if you guys aren't following me on Letterboxd or my Instagram, and you want to know some of my thoughts on these movies, go check those out. In fact, I'm going to be putting up reviews for 2 more movies that I still need to review. I need to review The Drama, which I watched about a month ago, but I want to put my review up for that because the Drama is my second favorite movie of the year so far, right behind Project Hail Mary. And I saw Lee Cronin's The Mummy a couple weeks ago, and wanted to put my review for that one up as well. And then yeah, so I wanted to, so I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna be probably, and then tomorrow, as I'm recording this on late Wednesday night, at like 10 o'clock on a Wednesday night, so tomorrow I'm gonna go see Devil Wears Prada 2 with Meryl Streep and Hathaway. So I'm gonna go see that tomorrow, and I'll give my review. I'll put a review up. I'll put a review up for that on my Instagram. I don't know if I'm gonna do an out of the theater reaction for it though. I don't know yet. I haven't decided. But if I do an out of the theater reaction, you'll see it on my Instagram. And guys, in case you guys don't know, I do have let me share my screen here, because I do have a playlist where you can find all of my out of the theater reactions. Hold on, let me do something here. Let me go ahead and trying to find it here. It's hard for me to find this stuff because I have so many playlists that are just made for me, that are just made for my own personal enjoyment. Like I have a bunch of music playlists and all that kind of stuff. So trying to find my out of the theater reactions, but for some reason I cannot find it. Here, let me sort my. Aha. All right. Okay. Let me go ahead and share my screen again. Hold on. Give me 1 second. There it is. Oh, nope. That's not what I wanted. That is not even close to what I wanted. Oh, nope. That's not it either. What is happening? What am I doing here? I don't like that. I don't like the way that looks. Nope, I don't like the way that looks either. Okay. I I haven't used. I can tell I haven't been doing this in a while. I haven't used StreamYard in a little bit, but these are all my out of the theater reactions. You can see going all the way back to when I did Mortal Kombat 4 years ago, and then you can just see all my out of the theater reactions. Scream 6, Guardians Volume 3, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Joyride. Which, by the way, if you guys haven't watched Joyride, it's such a funny movie. It's one of my favorite comedies in the past couple of years. Weirdly enough, the one that's did the one video I never once thought would ever do any good was my out of the theater action for Expendables 4, and yeah, so. But yeah, I got a bunch of out of the theater reactions. All that cool stuff is there for your enjoyment and entertainment. So if guys ever want to, I'll link the full out of the theater reactions playlist. But you guys can go and check out that those out of the theater reactions. And then yeah, so but no, I'm gonna be doing more out of theater reactions, and I'll definitely have one for I might have one, like I said, I might have one for Devil Wears Prada 2. Might not. We'll just see how it goes. Um but yeah, everything's pretty much still the same. I mean, I'm still gonna be uploading videos, you know. Day of my lives. I'm trying to bring them back, and I keep trying to do it. It's just so hard to, because I've told you guys this, but YouTube is not my full-time job. It doesn't pay my bills. I have another job outside of this, and it's not easy when you have to do your job. And I as much as people would like me to, I don't take a camera out and start filming my day at work, because when I'm on the clock, I'm just focused on what I'm there to do. I'm not, I try not to focus on anything else, but it's kind of hard to do that when you're doing something as tedious as what I do. My mind kind of wanders off, and starts making movies in my head. I start making movies in my head. Um, but no, it's like I'm not out there going, while I'm doing something in my job, like just pulling out a camera going, hey guys, so look at me doing my job. No, I don't do that. um but I also haven't been going to the gym like I was. I'll be honest, guys, life has just been so hectic that I kind of felt, um I started feeling kind of down and out, and uh not very much like myself, and that's part of, honestly, the reason why I haven't really put myself on camera as much, is because I've just been so down and out. It's you ever watch Beauty and the Beast, the animated film Beauty and the Beast, and the guest on song starts, and it starts off with LeFou saying something in the vein of like, um what does he say? He's just like, "Gosh, it disturbs me to see you, Gaston, looking so down in the dumps." I, I'm actually, that actually came to me a lot quicker than I thought it would. I didn't think it was going to come to me that quick. But anyway, I'm not even. I'll be honest. Beauty and the Beast is not even one of my favorite Disney animated movies. That's just the first thing I thought of when I had talked about being a little down and out. But um, yeah, it did feel strange to just feel. And honestly, when I find myself that whenever I feel that way, the creative juices stop flowing, and I don't have the creative urge to create stuff. But like I said, this past week, I have felt this creative, like I got bit by this creative bug, and it's like I need to get back on YouTube. I need to get back to podcasting. I need to do all this stuff. I just like boom, 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 boom. Like I've been like getting stuff done, been writing scripts, been doing this and that, and I'm like I feel like a million. I feel like I could be working on my own personal projects. Like I just feel that kind of energy. Um, but yeah, so it's yeah, it's YouTube. I'm coming back to YouTube, and I'm gonna be doing a lot of cool stuff with YouTube. So that you have to look forward to. Um, all right, let's go ahead and move on here, and let's move on to the last thing I'm going to talk. I was going to talk about Avengers Doomsday, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'll save that for when a specific trailer drops. Hopefully, a trailer will drop soon. But I want to talk about my most anticipated movies of the summer. I cannot wait for some of these movies to come out, man. It is just like man, it's exciting. The amount of movies we have coming out this summer. This is a pretty packed summer actually. Um, but yeah, let's go ahead and just start talking about some of these movies that are coming out in the summer. So and I'll share my screen here so that we can just so I can just actually look at it with you guys. Um so we got the summer lineup, summer guide here from the I believe this is the Associated Press. I believe that's the AP News.com. I think this is the Associated Press. I don't know. But we got some let's look at the summer lineup here. You got Devil Wears Prada 2 coming out May 1st. Um May May 8th, we got Mortal Kombat 2 and the Sheep Detectives, which actually doesn't look, which actually doesn't, actually, the Sheep Detectives actually does not look that bad, actually. It looks kind of cute and fun, and I honestly am kind of looking forward to seeing that. Um, got In the Gray with, that's the new Jake Gyllenhaal movie, and Henry Cavill, Jake Gyllenhaal with, Guy Ritchie directing. Let's see. We got May 22nd, The Mandalorian and Grogu. Um Backrooms, which is the new A24 film. That is coming. Which I can't which I'm super excited for that one as well. Let's move on here. Masters of the Universe on June 5th, Scary Movie 6 on June 5th. Disclosure Day. Let's see. Toy Story 5 is coming out on June 19th. Supergirl is coming out June 26th. Let's see. We have on July 1st, we have Minions and Monsters. Moana on June 10th. July 10th, sorry, July 10th. July 17th, we have The Odyssey. Let's see here. July 31st, Spider-Man Brand New Day. August August 14th, we got The End of Oak Street, which looks really, really great. Coyote versus Acme on August 28th, and that kind of ends the summer. So let me pick. I'll pick a few movies here that I think are. I'll go back up here and pick a few movies that I think are my most anticipated of the summer. Um, I will say this: despite the fact that I did not love the first one, I am looking forward to Mortal Kombat 2. I think Mortal Kombat 2 the more footage I see from that movie, the more fun I think it looks. And I think this is going to give us more of what we wanted from the first one. Um, let's see. I am getting a little bit more excited for The Mandalorian and Grogu, especially after seeing well, not seeing, I didn't see it, but I have a friend who went to CinemaCon and saw the first 17 minutes of the movie, saying that it was actually really, really great. So I'm looking forward to that. Um Backrooms I'm looking forward to. Let's see here. Masters of the Universe is one that I think is going to be really, really great. Like, I think a lot of people are sleeping on Masters of the Universe. I think that movie's going to be a lot of fun, and I cannot wait to see it. Um, Scary Movie 6 is one of those movies that could go one or two ways. It could be like the first movie, which is really funny and exciting, or it can be the biggest piece of garbage we've had in a long time. It could go one or two ways. Disclosure Day, I cannot wait for Disclosure Day. Spielberg directing, written by David Kep, Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor, Coleman Domingo. Like, this movie has basically everything going for it. Toy Story 5. I can't tell you that I'm super excited for it, but I haven't hated any of the Toy Story movies. I mean, I love Toy Story 1 through 3, and I actually am not one of the haters of Toy Story 4. I actually thought Toy Story 4 was decent, so I think Toy Story 5 could be good, but do I need a Toy Story 5? No, but I didn't need a Toy Story 4, and I thought Toy Story 4 was good, so I don't know. We'll see. Supergirl, I'm really looking forward to seeing. I'm really looking forward to seeing Supergirl. I think that looks really, really fun. The Odyssey, obviously, I talked about it. I cannot wait for the Odyssey. And then Spider-Man: Brand New Day, and let's see, the end of Oak Street. I talked about that one. That one looks fun. Cannot wait for that one. And then ending it off with Coyote versus Acme. So I would say, okay, so here are my 5 that I'm really looking forward to. Here are my 5. And for some reason, my light went out. Okay. Here are my 5. And why is my computer acting that way? Stop it. Okay. So, in no particular order, I'm going to go Masters of the Universe, Disclosure Day, Supergirl, Backrooms. No. Take Backrooms out. The Odyssey, and then Spider-Man, Brand New Day. Yeah, those are the ones I'm going to go with. Those are the 5. Masters of the Universe. Shoot, what did I say? I can't remember what I said. Anyway, I gave my 5. We'll have to. Actually, it's really going to bother me now that I can't remember it. Okay, Masters of the Universe, Disclosure Day, Supergirl, The Odyssey, and Spider-Man: Brand New Day. Okay, there we go. Those are my 5. But guys, that will do it for the Zeke. Those are my show notes. I should not be showing you guys that. There we go. Those are my show notes. I can't show you guys my show. I can't show you guys how it goes behind the scenes. That's for another time. A story for another day. But guys, that will do it for this episode of the Zeke Said So show. Thank you so much for listening. Uh, you guys make podcasting fun. You guys make podcasting fun. You guys make doing YouTube videos fun, and I am excited to be back on here and getting back into the swing of things when it comes to um uh when it comes to just talking about movies and all that kind of stuff. I cannot wait. So thank you guys so much for watching and listening, and thank you guys so much for um still sticking by my side, even though I haven't been on YouTube that much. But I promise you, the videos are coming back. Please stay tuned. I'm gonna have a brand new Out of the Theater reaction for, again, hopefully, maybe we'll see. But I will have a review up for Devil Wears Prada 2 on my Instagram for sure. So go follow me on my Instagram at Zeke. My Instagram is actually right on the banner below at Zeke Said So Pictures. You guys can also find me on Letterboxd. Letterboxd is Zeke the Geek, so you guys can follow me there. But that will do it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you guys like the podcast, please make sure you share it, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe. I think you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel because Zeke the Geek said so. And I will talk to you guys later. Peace out.